Hello, in this short video we will talk about sustainable mobility under a life cycle perspective. So the first point I want to face is why urban mobility is not considered sustainable, and there are three reasons for that. The first one is that road mobility relies mainly on fossil fuels, so we are using non-renewable resources to move throughout our cities. The second point is that urban mobility and urban rural mobility is one of the main contributors to the climate change, or in other words, it is one of the main contributors to the emission of greenhouse gases that causes the climate change crisis. The third point is that mobility, and again, road mobility in urban area is one of the main important contributors to the air pollution in great urban area and in metropolitan area. So what we can do to face and solve this problem of our city and of our nations? Well, there are mainly three things that we can do. And the first one is avoiding, and this is the most effective things we can do. We can avoid useless travel and useless trip. This can be achieved through promotion of smart working, for example, but also by the promotion of digital service in public administration, the promotion of e-health and so on. The second action in order of effectiveness is shifting, that is using different way of moving in our city, using bicycle whenever possible, walking whenever possible, using public transport, but also in last mile logistics, we can shift in using, for example, cargo bike and other device to transport goods in our cities. Finally, the last action is improving, that is try to use vehicles that are more efficient and with a reduced environmental impact. So in this short video, we will focus on the last point, that is improving. One of the ways we can use more efficient vehicle is using electric vehicles. Electric vehicles have some advantages compared with traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. They rely partially and only partially on fossil fuel because electricity is produced by a certain amount of renewable energy sources, and this amount is growing and growing in the last years, and it will go to grow much more in the future. There are no direct greenhouse gases emission, no at tail type, and no pollutant emission during the use phase in dense populated area. But is it true? Are the electric vehicles so environmental friendly as they seem? Well, maybe you have read some newspaper article wondering if the electricity production to charge the batteries is so environmental friendly, or if the environmental impact connected with the battery production and sometimes substitution can exceed the advantages of electric vehicle during their use. In order to answer to this question, if the shade of electric vehicle are more than the advantages, we have to do an environmental life cycle assessment. That is, we have to consider all the life cycle impact that occur during the life cycle of a vehicle. So consider the impact due to the construction of the vehicle, to the use of the vehicle, to the final dismantling of the vehicle, but also the impact connected with the maintenance and the impact connected with the production of the energy vector, that is electricity for electric vehicle and gasoline, fuel, or whatever they use for internal combustion engine. This technique that is called the life cycle assessment has been carried out for years here at RC, and we can see here some results for what concern private car. What we can see from this graph is that for what concern life cycle assessment and for what concern carbon dioxide emission, the electric vehicle in the Italian scenario, that is not that different or distant from the average European scenario. Electric vehicles have by far better performances than other considered vehicles, no matter if they are gasoline or diesel oil vehicle. Another point is that, as we said before, the advantages of electric vehicles are not restricted to climate change or to greenhouse gas emissions, but also to pollution. Electric vehicles do emit less pollutant than traditional cars, of course, but we can consider all the pollutant emitted in their daily life, and we can translate the impact due to air pollutant to climate change, greenhouse gases emission, and we can translate them in economic impact. So we can estimate the so-called environmental externalities of an average car. And if we sum up this value, we can see that also consider both this kind of impact together, electric car, no matter the electricity mix considered for the battery recharge, are by far better than traditional car. And we can say that this is true not only for private car, for passenger car, but it's also true, for example, for public transport. So if we compare a traditional bus, gasoil bus, diesel gasoil bus, with an electric bus, we can say that the emission of carbon dioxide emission are by far lower. Also, for what concerns urban logistics, which is a very important issue in the recent year, we can say that there are some opportunities deriving from shifting from traditional van to electric van. Again, the emission in the Italian case scenario of carbon dioxide are by far lower with respect to a similar diesel oil van. And this emission can be further reduced if instead of an electric van, we use a cargo electric bicycle, which can substitute the electric van in the, for example, in the central area of our cities. Another important point is that electric vehicle offer advantages also for transport out of the town. That is not only for urban logistics, last mile with a small van, but also for bigger vehicle. We can see here results from a study carried out from the DG Move of the European Commission. You can see down here the exact reference of the study. And as you can see, again, considering different kind of trucks, the electric truck is the technology that offers the high advantages in terms of reduction of greenhouse gases during the entire life cycle. So we can conclude that yes, it's true, the electric vehicles are more environmental friendly than traditional one under a life cycle perspective, at least for what concerns carbon dioxide emission and pollutant emission. So thank you for your attention. Here you can see some reference of the picture I have used in this small presentation. I hope that everything was clear, and thank you.